Joyce B. And Swisher?
No.
Phyllis Posey? Patty Robinson? Kay Hudson? Linda Early? Gellhart? Doug Gellhart?
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay,
That's me.
all right. Got another one I can't take out. Sorry.
Oh, Ben Adams.
Oh, sorry, Ben. John Dawson. Vicki Williams. You have no papers for me?
You want me to go now for you?
No, that's okay. We'll get you wherever you don't need it. Just want to know if you have it.
I do.
Okay. You're on our agenda here.
Okay.
We'll get you. I don't know this one.
I think that's Randy.
Randy? Flynn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Randy from the Dodge County Authority. I'd like to thank you for the time also to have public comment and address a few things. First off, the MS World and Fire Services saddened. My fire chief of the VN Fire Department, Danny Goodwin, passed away last night. So our community is saddened by his loss, many years in fire service. And as you know, Jane Care crashed an ambulance last night, killing one of their EMTs in the truck. So EMS and Fire World is very sad, and so if we could, open up our prayers and thoughts to their families and friends and co-workers to help them get through, that would be greatly appreciated. And on behalf of the AA, I would love to open up my doors to anybody, like I've said in public comment with you guys and talking, that my doors are always open. If anybody in the community has anything that they would like to come address with the AA as far as bettering the community and wanting to know my finances and what I do as far as services goes, it's always been open and still remains open for anybody to come talk with me. And as far as trucks go, I always keep 2 trucks available for the community, and my transport truck is a separate truck by itself. But like I said, my doors are always open, and I'm more than willing to sit down with anybody that wants to, and I'm looking forward to working with the new commission to better the services and do what we can to make the community better. Thank you.
If you're talking to the individuals with that passed away, or with their organizations, please convey our condolences to them.
I will. Thank you, sir.
Barbara Knight?
The auditor's office, West Virginia Auditor's Office, has announced some training meetings that they'll be having on the budgeting process as well as fraud and abuse. And the DCAA has signed up to take that class coming up in, I think it's in March at the 911 Center. Pardon? I'd have to turn my phone on to look and see the exact date. So I'm either there or at the meeting in Clarksburg, but we will have a presence there.
Okay, thank you. Chris Arnold? Pronounce your last name for me.
You want the first name pronounced too? The last name's Barrow.
Barham. I always get it wrong. I'm sorry. Okay? First name.
Mariana.
Mariana. Thank you. You want to speak?
The only question that I have a concern about is curious as to how far along the rewriting of the floodplain ordinance is, and if at some point in time for the new floodplain ordinance is accepted, if there will be a period where there's public comment, The other question that I have is, I know that there was a stop work order put on Marcellus Shale well that was being drilled on Route 23 on the Kaufman farm. And I want to know what the status of that is and what's going to happen next with that. Because I think it's really instrumental to know, because of potential damage that can be done in the county where drilling activity like this is going on. The other issue that I think the commissioners need to be aware of is that JB Oil and Gas, who has a really horrible record in what they do, has recently been issued a permit for a disposal well, a brine disposal well up at the end of Frank's Run. And I know that's not in the floodplain, but it's going to tax the roads, like Route 23, if they're going to be hauling stuff in, the people that live on Frank's Run, if they're even aware that this is going on in their community, they really need to be aware that something needs to be done as far as potentially forcing JB Oil to do some initial baseline water well testing for the people that live in that community to protect them in case there's an issue.
Spoke with Dan Wellings, he's not here. I spoke with him last week, and the rig is moved out on one. There's a stop work order there, but I know there's nothing else done.
Yeah, but Ralph, that rig that was moved out, the rig that was on that site was just the rig to drill the vertical hole.
Yeah.
They were bringing in a bigger
Yeah.
rig to do the horizontal drill.
But there's nothing happening there now.
No, they
No.
haven't done anything to reclaim that
Yeah,
site.
he's got a stop work order on that, I know that, I talked to him about it. Now, the other issue up Frank's Run I'm not aware of. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. I will let Dan Wellings know. And he keeps us informed pretty much of what's going on.
That site is not on a floodplain.
Yeah.
And from what I can determine, it is the only disposal well that has been permitted in Doddridge County. Now, the disposal that they're talking of is frac fluids, like really, really nasty stuff. JB's record for drilling is horrendous,
I know,
horrendous.
I know.
So meanwhile, they're going to be hauling in truckloads of toxins to dump down this, so it's like,
Yeah. Now, the floodplain ordinance, I can't answer that. Maybe our legal advisor, Harry, can answer that. I don't know how far along you are with that. Can you answer that, Harry?
I'll talk to the attorney who's working on this.
Okay.
With the commission.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Ralph.
Thank you. Tina? You're on the agenda. Let me see. You're up. We're done with public comments, so you're up, Pat.
Okay. I didn't make the first of the month, I didn't make the first of the month meeting because I figured it was just an organizational meeting, and a lot of the stuff that people had asked for in the way of information was we couldn't complete until the end of the year. So I'll start. Got several things to report on here. The situation report for the county is pretty self-explanatory. We finished the year out 11.35 inches low for the year for Doddridge County in rainfall. That's the third year running that we've ended up in a minus situation. And Mill Island Creek right now is at plus 10 inches normal fall pool, and we moved into winter pool before long. We have experienced a great deal of, great number of transportation accidents of recent. There's one on there December 25th that dumped its whole load in the creek, and we had the EPA involved in it. They told us it was just muddy water. It turned out to be pit water, and Baylor Trucking was involved in it, but we tested took water samples and tested it with the rain. The EPA got back to me and told me that parts per million were beyond any problem at this point in time. We did shut the West Union water system down for a period of about 7 hours while we waited on those tests to come back. The second area that I want to report on is the generators. I've been working since the problem last summer, the power outage, for generators for the shelter, and I finally have two solid estimates from two reputable firms that could supply generators to the county. This takes in 12 sites actually. Since this last estimate came in, I met with the FRN, and the FRN wants to be considered a shelter too, and they would like to do a generator. And they came with money in hand to help us out, so they had $9,000 that they were wanting to put forward. So if you, I'm sorry I didn't notice it until I was, the totals on these two estimates are, Master Service Mid-Atlantic was $492 for the 11 sites, and Kreitz Electric out of Buchanan was $117,450, and with the addition of the FRN, that took their estimate to $140,360, and minus the $9,000 they had, brought it back down to $131,360. Now, the problem is with this, we finally have estimates in sight, and we have doable situations here. I think Kreitz is a very reputable firm, and I think they do a good job. The problem is the sources of, what sources of federal and grant money that we had available is kind of dried up with the cliff and the debt ceiling and stuff like that. I talked to several people today. The only thing right now, I talked to a lady, the only thing right now is available is a low interest loan, which is no interest really, and through the federal government, and we can get some help on that. So unless the county commission will want to jump on this and assume this debt, we're going to have to report back at a later time and look for some alternate funding sources. And I'm sure there's some out there, and I'm sure once the government decides to do whatever they're going to do, the people will start talking to us. But until then, we're hanging in limbo on the fact that we've got 12 sites that said that yes, they will do this. The estimates are all realistic. It's a doable situation. The only thing the owner has to do is supply the gas hookup, supply the gas and the hookup to the generator itself. And the ambulance authority is the only person that doesn't have gas available. They would have to come up with a propane tank or some gas source for the generator system. We've surveyed each, we visited each site, we've looked at them, they're all doable things. So it's a doable situation. It's something I think would be a real plus for the county, and it not only would it give contact points in the county in each region of the county, but it would kind of solidify the situation in like last summer when we had no communications. We could set up communication points. We would have points with electric where things could happen, and but it's an option. That's something you guys are going to have to figure out what we're going to do. Well, I'm not going to report back to you at a later date. That's yours. Let me go on through this and we'll come back. I finally got through to a lady in Frontier's telephone system in the quarter. She told me there's a whole division to take care of telephones for government organizations, and by the time I got through to them, the phone got installed today. We don't know the number, but it is installed, so I'll report back to you at this time. Beth had been contacted by, this lady took it over, and she said, yes, I can do that. She forwarded all my emails, walked me through everything I needed to do. Beth helped me out. She's still back there, or she's still fighting that picture. Yeah, she walked me through everything, and she gave me the information I needed. I got it to her, she took care of it. The crews contacted her last week, and they were in today, and Beth called me and said, they're here putting that phone in. So I said, that's great. So we're making progress on that front.
Good.
What we opted for was a rollover type phone where we could assign a number to it, and then if the courthouse isn't open or we're not functioning here, the phone will ring at a secondary or maybe third site or fourth site, so we can have a rollover situation. So that's the report on the phone.
Where's the sites? Have you picked out the sites? The other sites? Where the phone?
No, we're not. I kind of want to sit down and, when I get to the last item here, I kind of want to sit down and talk to the other emergency organizations in the county and find out what they want to do with that, because, there's a situation where, this may not have electric. Our department has generators, but they're portable generators. We may have electric. We're trying to figure out where it would function in a worst case scenario. And that's what we're looking at right now. So I kind of like to sit down and talk to the rest of the departments in the county and say, and John down at the 911 center and talk to them. I'd like to have a meeting with all that and figure out, and that's why the only thing we got right now in there is a phone, and it'll have an answer machine. And I'll check in on a daily basis.
I'm very interested in the commission looking at this seriously, trying to fund this if we can. We have to do some investigating.
Right. The next thing was data that the commission had requested on runs for the fire departments in the county. And I asked Mr. Dotson, he was very helpful with me on this, and Mr. Hatfield, and they broke it down by department, and they broke it down to runs made, runs missed. And I went ahead and did the math on it for the percentages, and you can see there that the runs in the county are pretty much uniform. They go down population lines. Where you don't have population, you don't have runs. Smithburg run 429 runs, and West Union run 197. Greenwood run 184, and McClellan run 182, and Banks run 94. Actual runs made, well, there's a little difference there. West Union made 96% of the runs. Greenwood made 87% of their runs. Smithburg made 88% of the runs. McClellan made 98% of the runs. Banks made 64% of the runs. Now, for four of those departments, that's really, I think they ought to be commended for their volunteer time. The other one, I'm not sure what the situation is there, so, but they'll have to go with that. You'll have to look into that. Accompanied are the run data that the 911 center sent us, and they have the runs missed on the first sheet, and then they have a breakdown of runs made on the second sheet. And it goes down and lists brush fire, cardiac arrest, chest pains, CO investigations, electrical fires, core down to stroke, structure fires, transportation accidents, with injuries, transportation accidents without injuries, right down to vehicle fires. So there's a breakdown on each department in here. And if you need any more data than that, you'll have to let me know. I don't know how else we can do this and have it spelled out in any plain.
Very good.
Also on the front page, you'll find that there's an average time. It says maximum time en route, maximum minimum time en route, average en route time, and they reach each of the departments as far as responding. They've got the data down to time. All this data is available. If John didn't toil long hours to do this, it was all computer data that was generated. So I don't want to get John's head too big back there. But it's data that was requested by the county commission. You guys got dividers on this. Now, the last 2 pages on your report is a copy of the certification. This one's for West Union Volunteer Fire Department. The state certification's over with. There's been a lot of questions around. This is a certification letter for 5 years for the West Virginia Volunteer Fire Department. And this was a very long and arduous undertaking, and it's got to be done again 5 times before over the next 5 years. This has to be done every year. We're certified for 5 years, but we have to keep those records. That means the trucks have to be pump tested, all your self-contained breathing apparatus has to be tested, your hose has to be tested, everything. It's a lot of time and hours in this undertaking. Now, the last page on yours is the fire marshal's representative, his card, his business card, and there's been a lot of questions about who passed, who didn't pass, and I can't answer that. I can't address that. I don't have a clue. I mean, I do have just talk on the street. So I think if you guys have any further questions about certification, you need to talk to Fire Marshal there. He'll tell you. Best I know that there's one other letter like this in the county I physically have seen. The other letters all have strings attached to them. They either have plans or whatever. I think that there's a lot of things need to be discussed right now among emergency organizations. The regulations that's being forced upon the fire departments in the county, I brought that letter in because now we've got to do that 5 times. I've spent the last, it should have been since April, we've been working on it, but we've spent the last 2 weeks getting our radios narrowbanded, only to find out that we've only got 5 out of 28 pagers that are programmable. We've only got, of our 4 main trucks, 2 of the radios don't meet regulations and specs, so they're going to have to be replaced. The expense of all the net regulations, like this narrowbanding and the state certification and stuff, brings me to the point that I don't know how the fire departments are going to make it. We're living, West Virginia Volunteer Fire Department has $48 extra a month, is what we have on our budget. And if we tear a tire up, or we had a donation right before Christmas and we bought a radio to replace the one in the engine. We've still got 2 trucks that aren't going to be in compliance, and we're going to live with it for a while. We're not in compliance, I guess. But all the fire departments, I'm sure, are suffering. They've all voiced an opinion to me, and they kind of wanted me to voice an opinion to you guys about we need some help. Everybody talks about all the expenses in the county, but nobody thinks about the volunteer fire departments out there who are 100% volunteer, and we live on soup, beans, and cornbread, really. And we're going to need something down the line. Now, I've had a couple of people talk to me about the levy, the old levy, if we could get it going again, and I'm not sure that's the answer. I'm not sure. The West Virginia Volunteer Fire Department paid a little over $20,000 this year in workers' comp, mandated workers' comp. Now, the state did refund some of that money, and if you ask me the dollar amount, I can't tell you. Mike told me he got the check yesterday. They didn't tell me how much it was. So we did get a little bit of that back. But between our vehicle insurance and our workers' comp, we get $42,000 a year from the insurance. That's for reporting our runs.
Each department?
Each department. And that's what we're living with. And I know that our trucks are paid for, our building's paid for, we're in the black, but there's departments out there that aren't. And I don't know how they're going to survive, I really don't. We need to look someplace down the line for some help, some type of help. And it has to be monetary. I've talked that Smithburg came to us. One of the reasons our run total was low is because we cut back on runs. We quit running medical runs, we quit running roadway obstructions, we don't even go to parades anymore. And if the guys want to go to a parade, they got to raise money for diesel. And that's just pure and simple. I mean, if we get something broke, we've got to figure out a way to to fix it ourselves. Right now, on our present budget with our income, we figure we've got 1 year and 7 months in the black before we start running out, spending more money than we got just on normal stuff. So, and with the levy, if we started right now today working on the levy, it'd be about 1 year and 6 months before we can physically see a dollar bill. Because of the process we have to go through, public hearings and all the stuff we have to go through, the levy calls and stuff like that, just physical time. And then we have to get into where the taxes to be assessed, and they don't show up until July 1st, and then we gotta wait until, it starts the division all over again. I don't know what we're gonna do.
When's your next fire rescue levy?
Well, our next fire and rescue meeting's gotta be sometime at the end of this month. We've got, a couple things to do. We're trying to let all the departments get their elections over with, stuff. Greenwood just changed chiefs. Gary's no longer chief down there, so we've got a new chief down there, and I don't know about that. We had our election, nothing changed there. I don't know about the other guys physically talking.
I'd like for all the departments to attend your meeting. I like to attend that meeting and get some input of what kind of help you guys would want.
I would like for us to have a meeting and then all the fire rescue attend this, the county court meeting, because I think that there's, if we're going to get any help, it's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And we've kept in the background, we've tried to stay out of all the other problems in the county, and I know that there's a lot of important things being said and done, but we're down to the point now we can't be quiet any longer. We need help. And I think if you do for one, you got to do for all, or you can't do for all, you can't do for one. I mean, I'm down to the point now that we need help financially. And I didn't mean to bring that up as part of the OES, but people keep asking me questions, and I figured now's as good a time as any. The other thing on the generators, I forgot to mention, is I think if we go ahead with this, we do find some money, we need a agreement with each of these facilities, similar to what we have with senior citizens. We helped get them a generator down there for their place years ago. They've got one, and we had a mutual aid agreement, for lack of a better term, and it says that we can use your facility, and we, in case of emergency, blah, blah, blah. We had similar agreements with the school board. We can use their buses to transport in mass casualties, and excuse me, pretty much standard things, and I think that before we proceed too far on this generator thing, we need to maybe have the county court look at the legal agreement between the county commission, because anything that happens, whether it's me or anybody else that does this, it's going to have to be with the county court and the organizations. That's the way it's structured. But anyway, that's everything I got. Do you have any questions?
Question, sure.
Do we have to have the, that wage, do we have to, hold on up. I noticed you said that the
On the estimates?
yeah,
I'll tell you, these are all 30-day estimates, and the 30 days is long since gone. I would say that probably what will happen, if we come up with money, be a ballpark amount of money, if I would find somebody today that would loan me $140,000 to do this with, I'd say, yeah, jump on it, and we'd probably have to back out for bids anyway under a specific contract, and at that time, there'd have to be some stipulations on wage and stuff like that. I would say that would probably be the way, and I don't know if you might be able to answer this, being the county commission and it's federal dollars, we probably have to pay prevailing wage. Okay, so that would have to fall into it. Now, that's one reason they backed away from the gas. If we supply the gas, then if each organization supplies the gas, like out at Grove Summers, we priced one for out there for a community type shelter out there. If they got together and the gas line was there, they hook up to it. You know what I'm saying? As far as that goes, but if the AA has to put propane in, they get a contract with somebody, put the propane in, they do it, then that would be, but we'll probably have to do another bid on this in a contract. I'm currently trying to get a hold of several people. I got a list of 4 people from Charleston today, phone numbers and stuff. I'm getting a hold of them, and I'm trying to get them a proposal out, trying to get some interest back on some money. I also talked with oil and gas. The EDA over here is getting a meeting together. The oil and gas companies are working on things. They're trying to get some stuff done, and I'm trying to interest them in maybe writing part of this as a community effort type thing. They got a lot of money to do that. I'm out there fishing for any money I can get. So if we can raise 50 cents on the dollar, and we can take 140,000, make it 70,000, and maybe we got something for it. So that's my goal. And if I can, everything I can find, but I'm sure there's going to be strings attached to any money I find. That answer your question?
Great.
No. No, I don't have questions. Just a comment that I think it's a worthwhile project for the generators. As we all, I'm sure, are aware, we don't know nationally what the situation is going to be, and just like you said, so it's going to behoove the county commission to play it close to the vest for the time being until we.
I talked to one of the Homeland Security people. They said, I don't know if my paycheck's going to be there next month. I said, I can't. I said, yeah, I can understand that.
But it's a very worthwhile project, and personally, I am for it. We have to find the money.
We're looking for it.
Right.
We're looking for it. Thank you.